Hello. Today I want to talk about if you should make art a job. And I'm not an artist. I'm not a professional artist. I just do it to try to help people and try to give examples, even though I'm not the best at drawing yet. But I think there are a lot of dangers when it comes to it, and I think I could really speak to it. Um, you know, the thing is, when you do everything for the sake of a job, I feel like you're doing it for the sake of to make money. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. There, there are many artists in the world who do art to make money, and then you have certain people who do art for the sake of art. And maybe you don't want art to be a job. And I kind of question myself with that quite frequently. Um, it's kind of weird. I'm in a very weird situation in life, and I guess you could say the pandemic kind of made me think a lot about what to do. And I will admit, I have, some of my desktop applications are free because I think they could genuinely help artists draw, and it can help a lot of different people. Some of my applications are paid, and the reason why I do that is, I was thinking, well, it would be cool if one day that can help provide some like income to me on the side. I haven't made any money at this point. I mean, I'm not doing everything I can for the sake of money. I do draw for fun, but I just haven't made money. So I guess I can't say like I'm not profitable, but I have made a big portion of it a job. So I was thinking of making two bubbles. No. No. And yes. Do you wake up most days? Do you wake up most days looking forward to draw? um, if you wake up most days and you're looking forward to doing art, it very well could become a maybe. Now, how do I think of it? So, like, if you like drawing, I would say maybe. If you're doing it and you dread drawing every day, I would say no. Because dreading drawing and waking up every day and knowing that you have to do it because of a job is what I would call an anti-pattern. And basically, anti-patterns will make you draw less. And I kind of stole anti-pattern from software engineering. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but just know that, like, there are sometimes if you try to reinvent the wheel, or no, that's not a good way to say it. If you use a pattern that may not be proved to use it, you'll end up causing more trouble in the long run. So let's say you want to strive for a balance. I would say you can. Like, if you could split half your time into, I guess you could say, trying to improve, and the other half, no, that's not a good way to say it. I think the important thing is, I want to say I learned it from Drawbox as well. There was a thing called the 50-50 rule. 50 rule. And basically in this rule, you draw half for practice and half for fun. And it can be difficult to accomplish, but now that I think of it, it's a good pattern, not an anti-pattern. And I think it can help you in the long run, because both parts of the 50, of course, 50-50 adds up to 100%. And when you split half your time for practice and half your time for fun, it will benefit you in both aspects. And when you have that habit, I think you can get away with trying to perhaps turn it into a job if you want. But like an anti-pattern, I guess you can say an anti-pattern would just be 100%. I should draw percent signs. I would say an anti-pattern would be 100% dread drawing, just doing it all for a job. And I feel like when you just do it for a job, you get in your head that if you're not successful with this, then it's like game over. and if you didn't know, as a lot of people say, what a job stands for, no one really understands. It's just over broke. Most jobs aren't there to really keep you in a state of being satisfied. I mean, obviously we need a job to live. I mean, more often than not you do, and it can become an anti-pattern. I mean, could you name, like, how many people do you know in your own life that actually like doing what they do for a living? I mean, or aren't just happy to like be done with their day after 9 to 5? I mean, personally, I don't like to go into the details because I don't like to complain all the time, but you know, people say 9 to 5, but the reality is much different. It gets blurred. Sometimes it becomes 8 to 6, sometimes it becomes 8 to 7, sometimes it becomes 9 to 7, sometimes it becomes like 9 to 5, and then maybe from 6 to 7 because you get some email. And you know, being in the digital age, it becomes really blurred. So this is different when you have like a job that's like a salary. I mean, if you're a freelance artist, it becomes like a whole monster in itself, because then you have to do a lot of other stuff. So like if you like making contracts, seeking people to pay for your art, then that, I would say that's another thing in the yes bubble. I'm sorry. Yeah, if you do like that. If you don't, then it would go in the no bubble. So if you like commissions, if you like working on a commission basis, then I would say yes. But just know that, well, I guess I would say it goes in the maybe. The reason why I say it goes in the maybe is because when you're out seeking for commissions, you're not spending time doing art. You're stuck in art limbo searching for people that want your stuff. So it's kind of like a challenge because you always have to be seeking commissions if you're doing it for a job, because you're going to be just over broke and you need to work all the time to do it, unless you eventually get to a saturation point in which people can find you for doing the work that you like. Or, like, you know, people find you by just contacting you by word of mouth, or you perhaps somehow became viral on the internet and everyone knows your name and they want you to do something. So I guess you could also say, if you like work, if you if you want a work-life balance, I would say if you want a work-life balance, I would say no. The reason why I say that is because you're going to have to be, if you, this is a bad way to say it. I really shouldn't have done the no and yes bubble, but I did. If you want work-life balance, I would say no, because you're going to have to always be out there hunting for more people that want your stuff. But if you find perhaps like one person, or maybe you're like working for like a video game studio, then it could be a lot more doable because you can kind of get your work-life balance back. So I guess the better way wasn't to say work-life balance, it was to say freelancer. If you want to be like a freelancer, I mean, I'm not one, so I guess I really can't speak to it, but I feel like the initial starting point is going to be the hardest thing for you. So if you want to be a freelancer, or if you like freelancer, I would say yes. But if you don't like it, then no. And I guess a lot of it's up to your preference. Okay, so being your own boss, um, that's like a total fallacy, because people say be your own boss. That's a bunch of crap, because you're always going to have to answer to someone. Like, there's always going to be, whether you're providing a service or a product or something like that, someone's going to have a question for you. So effectively, because they're the people that I would hope pays you, they're your boss. Even though they're not your boss on a day-to-day stable basis, they're your own boss. So it's like I said, it's like a fallacy, because you're not your own boss. There's always going to be people to answer to. I mean, you could think of any boss of any corporation anywhere, and they are not their own boss. Like, they usually have a board to answer to, or they have shareholders to answer to. So I guess you could really say no one's your own boss. I guess you could only be your own boss if you're bringing in your own money, and maybe perhaps your stuff has taken off and you don't need to rely on other people. But I feel like more often than not, that's like a miracle situation that like no one gets to. So let's say you just like to make art for fun. So let's say I would say no. Now let's say if you want to make art a career, you want it to, this is the thing you want to do every day of your life. I'm not saying if you want to do it every day of your life, you very well could turn it into a 9 to 5. And if you're okay with that, then I would say yes. Because maybe not everyone does it, like maybe you do it for fun, but in general, this is how you want to define yourself. So I would say in that case, you can, because that it should be up to you. You should be the one to decide whether you want to make it a career or not, and whether at the end of the day, if you're not liking it, you could stop. So, always be thinking about why you got into it in the first place. I mean, I'm not an artist. I'm just some random guy on the internet, but I think it's good to have these points in the back of your mind so it can help you make the decision. And I would say also, don't be afraid to perhaps maybe take a step back and decide maybe you don't like doing it as a job. Maybe you like doing it for fun. Now, people usually call that a hobby, and I find it kind of demeaning because it's your own time. If you have time to do it, nothing says you have to make it a job, because nothing will make you hate something more than turning into a job. So, and I don't mean this in a mean way, but if you like it and you just want to do it for your own expressiveness, I would say no. But that doesn't mean you can't turn it into a career or a job. Like, you definitely could. Like, perhaps maybe you do it for years and years, and it's fun to you, and you decide, maybe people are coming to you and they say, hey, could you do something like this for me? If you're interested in it, you could try it and go ahead. But just know that there comes a lot of long hours into it. So, I mean, if you want to transition it into a career. So I guess you could say, maybe if you like drawing for long hours, I would say yes. I mean, everyone needs a break. Everyone needs a break, but maybe it's your thing and you want to go through with it. But, I just gave some general tips here, and the only one that could answer this is you. Like, much like drawing and art and stuff that you can see me doing with all of my videos, there's a lot of failing going on. I'm definitely going to make mistakes. I accept them. I try to learn from them, because I also think that making these videos helps solidify my understanding of 3D space and drawing. So, you thought I was just doing it for you. No, that's a lie. I'm doing it to also help extend my knowledge, because I do have goals. Personally, I had software. You're probably not a software developer, maybe you are, but I think people who would watch this would be more into drawing. I'm not saying you have to be in the software, but just forget that point. But the point I'm trying to say here is that you have to ask yourself. You could try it, you can get out of it. Maybe you just do one, you see how it goes. Maybe you're doing it and you're getting a bunch of commissions, but you're not making enough money. But so maybe you determine that no one's willing to pay you yet for your current art. So maybe it's an economic issue, maybe it's you're undercharging, maybe it's that you need to get a higher skill level. I mean, I'm not trying to say it's a skill issue. I'm going to put skill issue because I have a skill issue. So I guess you could say maybe for that one. But just know that you have to think about it yourself, and maybe it's not always the best thing to tell people that this is what you're trying to do, because more often than not, people are not supportive of the arts in any way. More often than not, it seems like people are only supportive of arts if there's some massive profit involved in somehow, and more often than not, the people famous artists or works only become worth a lot of money if you die, and clearly dead people aren't going to make a lot of money. I mean, maybe their family will, but just know that it's not always the best solution. So you need, ask yourself, maybe if you have a job already, keep that job, try to see if you can make art a job if you're interested. I'm not saying do it if you're not interested. You have to be interested in it. If you're not interested in making art, if you're not interested in making your art a job, don't do it. Seriously, you'll end up hating it. And then you won't draw at all, and it's back to the original anti-pattern that I talked about. But if you are interested in making art a job, maybe you could... Okay, I'm going to write in this bubble. You are interested. If you are interested in making art a job, I would say use that in the 50% rule. Remember, the first half is for practice, because it's important that you practice. So you're always like trying to expand your knowledge in some way every day. But the other half, maybe you try to take a commission job. Maybe they pay you. Maybe you get burned. Hopefully not. But I mean, like, hopefully it's good. You see how it goes. You kind of dabble in it. But I would say perhaps you could do it for that. But I guess it's debatable, because you should be using that part for fun. But I'll leave it at here, right? You decide. Oops, that's a bad D. You decide. Only you can know. And perhaps you like it, and then maybe one day you don't, so you go back to just doing it for fun. It's totally up to you. The world is your oyster. So I hope I leave you with that. If you have any questions, I can try to help answer in the comments. If you're interested in my videos and my content and you think it helps you, please subscribe. But yeah, thank you for listening. I hope this kind of gives a general idea of whether you should do it or not. And just know that it's totally up to you. I'm not deciding anything for you. Thank you for listening. Bye.